Hello, everybody, and welcome to week 2 of BA120. Hopefully, week 1 went well, and everybody was able to post the discussion questions, look at the lecture, and get their paper in. If you have any questions about that, let me know. So week 2 is going to be pretty similar to week 1. I wanted to go over quickly what is due and then talk a little bit about the paper. So again, we'll just start on the home page, and we'll go down and we'll look at Module 2. So for Module 2, you'll have your checklists and objectives. So I want to go through these a little bit more this week since we didn't have as much time on our lecture last week. So read the lecture, view any presentations. The main presentation to watch is this, complete your reading assignments. And then again, post by Wednesday night for your initial discussion post. It needs to be around 70 words at least. And then respond twice by Sunday. So if this is a big class, that's awesome. Post to somebody else, respond to somebody else's discussion post, at least a couple of them. If we're a directed study, then you have to respond to at least 2 of mine. If you have any questions about the class, you can post it in questions to the instructor, or you can just get back to me, and that is fine, and I can help you out. Okay, so you have your lecture response as well, which will be due. So after you read this, you need to write your response to that. So it will be posted in here, the video will be posted in here since you're obviously watching it. And then you need to post your response of 150 pages. Let me scoot over here a little bit so we can see better. After the lecture response, you'll have your discussion. So the discussion this week I thought was pretty useful, and I'm interested to see everybody's points of view. So there's a lot of difference between an accountant and a bookkeeper. So this week we're going to talk a little bit about, do you think this is for an accountant or for a bookkeeper? So, when I think of an accountant, I think of a person that's kind of maybe all-encompassing. So you might have somebody that's an accounts payroll and does a bunch of stuff like that. That's an accountant. But generally a bookkeeper just enters the transactions or does a smaller thing. However, that doesn't mean that they still can't participate with preparing financial statements or doing things like that for the company. So I'm interested to see what everybody's point of view is on this, and feel free to take one side or another, or if you think there's pros and cons to each, list those out as well. But let's try to have a great discussion this week. I'm excited to see what everybody's going to say. Then next, we will have Module 2 assignments. So last week we dug in a little bit and talked about financial statements. And this week we are going to dig in deeper for Walmart's financial statements alone. So I had showed last week how you can go to Yahoo and look at certain things, and I'll give you a comparison for the last couple years at least. So you need to go back and you need to look at the information for 15 and 14, and you need to see how they've been doing. As it says, you look and see where areas they've changed. Has income gone up or down? Has liabilities gone up or down? Revenue has gone up or down. They may have made less money and revenue stayed the same, but maybe expenses went up. So dig into that. Or maybe income went up, revenue went up, and expenses stayed the same. There's a lot of things that can really impact that as you're going through the financial statement. So look for certain things. And then look at their business model. Are they on their way up or on their way down? Walmart's kind of in a world domination mode. They're in lots and lots of countries. So they're on their way up essentially, but they have closed stores in some areas. I remember here a while back they started closing stores when they, I don't know the exact mile radius off the top of my head. If they had 2 stores within, I can't remember if it was like 10 miles or something in smaller communities, they'd close some of those stores. So you could look that up and talk about that and think if that's going to impact their financial statement. See how many stores they close, certain things like that. But one thing that we did not, and then the paper itself. So it needs to be 2 to 3 pages, typed, double-spaced, APA format, like it says there. So please make sure that you do that. And now I want to dig in a little bit to about the 2 books that we've had, that we were using. So you have your QuickBooks book, which deals more with the accounting system from last week. But then you also have these Wiley Finance books. So it's the Financial Statement Analysis, a Practitioner's Guide. And this is actually a pretty good book. As I've been going through it, I've been impressed with a lot of the information they have. So I'm just flipping in here if you kind of want to follow along as we're going through. Obviously you can't see it, but I can tell you where we're at. So it has, just in the table of contents, So you have part one, which is reading between the lines, and then talks about financial reporting. Then part 2 is financial statements, which is going to be really good. I think in here this will probably help you this will kind of help explain a little bit about financial statements. So make sure as you're going through that you're using this book and that you're reading. Chapter 3 is your income statement. 4 is your statement of cash flows. Then you go down here, you get out profit, revenue recognition, expense recognition. Some of the bigger ones that I think that you're going to have, or that you want to look at maybe for this week, is you're going to have your financial statements. So be sure to look at that. Profit, look at profit. That might give you some good information and to look through. And then forecasting financial statements. Maybe you'll be reading a little bit about Walmart and how they've done in the past. Maybe they talk about some projections. Maybe you'll find some interesting articles on that. So there's a lot of good chapters, and they do a really good job about breaking that up in here. So I really encourage you to use this, and this is your main one. So go through, look at that, look at some of the management analysts that have been talking about Walmart. You can get that on Yahoo Finance. I believe MSN has a website. You should be able to even go to some of the day trading places. Even if you don't have an account, they might have some interesting information on there to help you make your determination on Walmart. So use the resources that are out there. There are just tons and tons of resources. I remember when I started day trading, it was probably about 10 years ago or so. Just the amount of information that is out now compared to then is just crazy. And it seemed like there was an unlimited amount of information back then. But it is key to look at all of that information when you're making investments. So this will be good. Then you've also got your little workbook here, which is the financial statement analysis workbook. So you can go through this, and this is going to have some good information. So it has like some fill in the blanks in here for some things to fill or to talk about. I've even seen Walmart mentioned in here a couple of times. But then you get to the back, and it's also going to have an example of your financial statements. So you can look at that. So you can really glean some good information from that as well. So this week, the main thing, like I said, just get your discussion post done your initial done by Wednesday and your 2 responses done by Sunday. Watch this lecture, write up your 150-word response. Please make sure that it's close to that length or right around there, not just a short one. Because if it is short, I will dock points for that, which I really do not want to do because those should be some pretty easy gimme points to help with your grade. And then the bulk of this week will come from looking at the financial statements from Walmart. And you're probably looking, it's only 2 or 3 pages double spaced. I can write that quickly. Well, you probably can't write that quickly, but there is so much information that you're going to have to try to get and put into 2 or 3 pages that maybe just pick 4 or 5 things and write about those. You're not going to be able to write about every line in a financial statement. So pick some of the things that are key to you and get that get that written up and then put in your paper. Because it needs to be concise and flow really well. So when you pick that, maybe start at your financial statements, look at income. And if you want to talk about income, make income your first thing, and then your expenses. Try to keep it in order just so it flows better, because that's how you read a financial statement. You don't start out with expenses. So write your paper in the order that you read it. That will just help you guys gain a better understanding of this as you're going through it. That's one of the things that I see in the audit world when we write our reports. We always have to write it in the order of the statements that we're looking at, just so it's easier for the reader, which that is easier for me, but also it's just a good practice in general, because if you ever have to write a professional paper or something at work, this is good practice to help you get into that. So if you have any questions, let me know. You can use the questions to the instructor. You can email me. You can call me, whatever it is, and I will get back to you as quick as I can. Like I've said in the past, I work during the day, and I generally try to get back to everybody at night. So let me know, and good luck. And I'm looking forward to looking at your discussion posts and talking about accountants versus bookkeepers, and then seeing what you can find from Walmart. Thanks, and have a good week.